It's my pleasure to introduce Mayor Belle-Isle, wherever he is.
You've probably noticed there are some hearts on your table, and I'll just say that this made a lot more sense when the when State of the City was 3 days after Valentine's Day. But you know what? Once you've bought the hearts, we're good stewards, right? So we've bought these hearts. So enjoy. It is no longer Valentine's Day. But in terms of Valentine's, I'm just speaking to the guys just for a moment. I'm not a big fan of Valentine's Day. Is anybody else with me? Your wife's here, Mr. Munson. Anybody, well, here's the thing. So when Candace and I have been married now 17 years. We're hoping an 18th year actually, but before that we dated, and obviously, and so the first Valentine's Day went as normal Valentine's Days go. Actually, it was a very good Valentine's Day. It was in Highlands, North Carolina. But after we got to know each other a little bit, I started kind of express opinions, and so I remember I don't remember where we were driving. But we were having a conversation, and I was just kind of saying, you know what, that whole Valentine's Day thing, it's Valentine's Day, right? We don't need to do Valentine's Day, do we? Because we would do, and we still do, romantic things for one another, and it's the spontaneity of it, it's the unplannedness. So why would we have a date where we have to be contrived and forced, and okay, now on this day, and you know what's coming, this is the day that I've got to do something unusual, something romantic, and that sort of thing. And I said, yeah, let's just not do that. And I don't know, how many of y'all have been to Publix or Kroger or Whole Foods on Valentine's Day? Oh my gosh, it's really sad. If you can avoid it, avoid it. All the guys are hovered around this little tiny area of flowers. You've seen this. There's petals on the floor, and they're really just kind of picking through, trying to figure out which one's left. And of course, by that time, really all that's left is the daisies and the baby's breath, but that's okay. They're flowers, and people are grabbing them up. And then you see the guys that don't really see what they want, and they're relegated to the stuffed teddy bear thing with the little heart on it. Oh my gosh. And so knowing this and feeling like I do, I said, look, let's just not do that. And Candace, and now there is a little bit of disagreement as to what happened in this conversation. So but my side of the story of it is that she nodded in agreement and was right there with me. And this is fantastic. We have so much in common. So 4 months later, we come to Valentine's Day number 2. And so when Valentine's Day came, I did nothing. Absolutely nothing. And then there was something, and as a result of that something, I haven't done nothing ever since. So I'm trainable. So, but love is kind of a crazy thing, and like I said, this made so much more sense when it was 3 days after Valentine's Day. But love is a funny thing. It makes you make strange decisions sometimes. It certainly makes you say strange things sometimes. But it is a good thing. But love can be for a person, but it can also be for a city. And I know, like many of you here, I love the city of Alpharetta. And as a result of that, sometimes it plays with your emotions sometimes. We had a meeting about 3 weeks ago. Councilman Owens was there, Mr. Regas was there, Pete Sasevich was there, wherever he is. And this was a meeting, it's like a lot of meetings that we have, although this was a little more special. It was off West Peachtree Street. It was down at GDOT headquarters, Georgia Department of Transportation, for those who don't speak the acronyms. But so we were going down to the Department of Transportation, and there were going to be state representatives there, state senators there, DOT representatives there. There'd be council members from Johns Creek, council members from Milton, obviously Alpharetta as well. And the whole purpose of this meeting was to convince Alpharetta and Johns Creek that we should invest some funds with Forsyth on a road that services all 3 districts. Perfectly fine, not a problem there in terms of the request. But as there was a state representative, and as that state representative was making his case, and this is a good guy, I don't mean to disparage him, but as he was making his case, he said something that I don't know that I heard anything after that point. And what he said is like, look, guys. We all service the same constituents. It's all the same residents. Alpharetta is the same as Forsyth County, is the same as Johns Creek. It's all the same. And I don't know about you, and maybe you're feeling what I felt at the time. It was like a Charlie horse in my chest. I was like, and I was really, some of y'all who know me better would be proud of me. For the most part, I did hold back. What I wanted to say, yes, absolutely. Alpharetta and Cumming are exactly the same. We've invested in our downtown. You've put a $100 million jail next to a Dairy Queen. It's exactly the same. We should do that. But I didn't. I held back. So, but you know, the thing is that what really drives me crazy about that comment is not because it was said or that he even believes it, is that we've all probably come in contact with those in and around our businesses, our suppliers, our customers, our vendors, those people. And you know it's true that some people actually do feel that way, that there really is no difference between Alpharetta, Johns Creek, or Forsyth. There's no specialness about it. And that, to me, just like, you know, that's what really rubs me raw. Not because he said it, but because to a lot of people, that's true. And what I wanted to kind of, I have a lot of conversations because there's the official side when I work for the city, and then there's the lawyer side when I do closings. And a lot of times when I do closings, and I've told you, some of you this before, people don't know I'm the mayor, and it's this great opportunity to be kind of a fly on the wall. And so people will ask me questions about Alpharetta, not knowing what I do for Alpharetta. And so what I'm going to do is going to share with you kind of some of these questions that were asked from different people, and I'm going to categorize them by asking this question as people who probably do not yet love Alpharetta. Mark Toro, the first one's for you. If you have to ask if Avalon is in Alpharetta, you probably do not yet love Alpharetta. Okay, if you have ever emailed Kasim Reed to complain about the traffic on Old Milton Parkway, you don't yet love Alpharetta. And if somebody asks you if you saw Miranda Lambert at Verizon and you respond, no, I've got AT&T, you're not getting it. If someone invites you to meet downtown and you pull up Google Maps, you don't yet love Alpharetta. By the same token, if someone invites you downtown and you start to complain about the traffic at 400 and 285, you don't yet love Alpharetta. But this one was my favorite one. When someone mentions the Alpharetta Greenway, that's not choosing a Nissan Leaf over an SUV. That's actually, it's a park. So, but seriously, when we talk about Alpharetta and trying to get people to love the city, to really feel connected to the city, it can be an issue for people. And then you start to really wonder, what would happen if we didn't love the city, if we lived in a city that wasn't loved, what would happen over time? And there's really, it's a scary world, right? If you look at Drudge Report, if you look at CNN, if you look at Fox, it doesn't matter. You pick your news outlet. There's big and scary things happening across the world. You've got ISIS, you've got healthcare, you've got Iran, you've got the thing going on with Israel. Some of that, all that stuff is connected, but it's big and it's scary stuff. And I'll be honest with you, sometimes I look down and I think, you know what, there's nothing I can do about that, but Alpharetta is a truly exceptional place. And that's really what underlies what we do. Because when you have a city that people don't love, eventually when you have kids and they grow up, they're not coming back. When you have private places and public spaces, you're not going to make those repairs. You're not going to have people making dreams about what could be and should be for the city of Alpharetta. It's just going to be a place where inhabitants are, a place that has neighborhoods instead of neighbors, that has houses instead of homes. And so what is underlying, now some of y'all have heard me say in other speeches, whether it's State of the City or just in talking around, my point, what I came to do, I guess, as mayor, is to make Alpharetta a hometown for the majority of its residents, very simple, and to make it the #1 technology city in the Southeast. But what is underlying that And what underlies everything we do as staff, we got the directors and lots of folks who work for the city here today, as council, what underlies that is making Alpharetta an irresistible city. That's the goal. That's what everything else is built on. And so with that building of an irresistible city, let me tell you a little bit about the state of the city, which is why we're here. And let me just tell you, it's a great state that our city is in. And so we've got our departments here today, and that's kind of the building blocks. We've got this year in public safety. Where's Gary? There he is. We've been able to decline our violent crimes, but in addition to that, in terms of our response times, we're working on applying for an ISO 1. You're thinking, what is ISO 1? Well, that is the fastest level of response times that any city can have, and less than 1% of public safety departments across the country have that designation, and we're getting close to that. We have in our economic development, Peter Tokar is here somewhere, we have actually landed the 2 largest leases, that are new leases for Metro Atlanta, was Fiserv and Halyard in the same complex this year. So congratulations to you guys for doing that. Kathy Cook is here with community development. We've added a lot of things on your plate, both the Envision Main Street and now the downtown master plan, along with all the other zoning. When things happen well, there's a greater and bigger burden on that. And then here's the thing too, in terms of people showing that they love Alpharetta, in our Parks and Rec department, running everything from the Golden Age Club to the veterans programs to our sports programs, we had over 35,000 volunteer hours this year. 35,000. So that's some great stuff that's working on. And with that framework, the council and staff have been able to accomplish some really, really amazing things in 2014. Most of you have noticed there's a new building. We like to call it City Hall. But it's sitting around this project. And I wanted to quickly kind of tell you a little bit, because people, when you drive by, you can certainly see the City Hall, and it's a beautiful building. But I wanted to kind of go around and tell you what some of the inspiration was of the group as we decided on how it should be planned and how it should be designed. So you've got the square right there, and you notice it's right up next to Main Street. That was inspired. We like the way Swanee, when you drive by downtown Swanee and they have something active, it draws you into the space. So that was what we were thinking there. One of the first things we did is we put streets into the actual city center plan. And those streets were inspired by places like Lake Forest, Illinois, which was one of the first mixed-use developments, but we knew we had to get people active and in there. The square itself was inspired from many places, but not the least of which is Marietta. And then the interactive fountain from Duluth, because we knew that life, that activity, would help draw people in. And if you're standing in the square and looking at City Hall, those dimensions, now granted there's no buildings there yet, but those dimensions, that width of the street, the width of the sidewalks where the footprints of the buildings are going to be, that's Bull Street in Savannah. Now we didn't name it Bull Street because we knew what people would say, so, but it's going to be named something else. But it's the same dimension, the trees, the width of the sidewalks, it's the same dimensions. There is a park that is between the City Hall and the library that's coming up in construction there. That is inspired after the Presidential Garden over in North Campus in Athens, Georgia. And also the parking deck. Has anyone seen a parking deck that pretty? That is the most beautiful deck I think I've ever seen. That is the deck outside Sanford Stadium, but kicked up a couple of notches. So that's what was inspiring of that. On the back side of the hall, if anyone ever been to Roswell's Memorial Day? Some of you? It's a big event. It's a great opportunity to honor our veterans. Well, we built the back of the hall so that it would be an impromptu stage for exactly those type of events. Councilman Mitchell's working on raising some funds, so I'll give you a quick plug for a Veterans Memorial. So if you're interested in helping with that, there's an opportunity to contribute to that. But that was inspired by what we saw in Roswell. There is a stream, believe it or not. People don't know there's a stream. You have to actually walk behind the hall there, but there is a stream there inspired from places like Greenville, South Carolina, when you've got the Falls Park there. So there's a lot of pieces and parts that we saw and loved about different cities, and we're able to combine and put together. So that's really what 2014 was about, was the execution of that vision. So that's the city center side, but on the top of that, you've seen, we've gone in 3 years from 2 restaurants And thank you, Mr. Sedgwick, wherever you are, because you are our pioneer, so I have to point that out. And Mr. Flipowicz as well with Smoke Jack. Y'all were the two. So, but we've gone now to 12 restaurants because people want to be in downtown Alpharetta. They want to experience it. So there's a lot of drive that's starting to come, and there's going to be more coming with what's to come in downtown Alpharetta. And then on the technology side, you know, we knew we had a lot of technology companies, and this year, how many people know that we have over 600 technology companies? Have I said that enough? Yeah, all right. Well, we do have over 600 technology companies, and actually over the last 20 to 22 months, we've added over 5,000. Actually, the private sector has added over 5,000 high-paying technology jobs to the city of Alpharetta. But in addition to that, the Technology Commission, which we launched 3 years ago, Mr. Hubbard's here somewhere. There he is. Mr. Hubbard is our full-time director now of the Alpharetta Technology Commission, and we have a space. Council voted to designate the old fire headquarters to be an innovation center and incubator, and it's going to be an opportunity to not just have the large companies, but in terms of the center of gravity of innovation, of investment, Mark Hubbard's working to make sure that that area is where companies can start, and so we're helping with the Georgia Tech's ATDC, with the Greater Alpharetta Technology Work. Karen Cashin's here. It's her birthday. There it is. And so for different organizations and groups to get up and create that. So those are some of the things that are happening. And then as we move forward, this year in 2015, we actually have our downtown city center team actually front and center right here. And as we'll over the next 45 to 60 days, we'll be working with them to come up with the plan as to how those private side, those other parcels will be developed. I think it's going to be some amazing times in Alpharetta. As we move forward as well on the technology front, you've probably heard us talk about the conference center. We have not decided on that yet. I'm a proponent of it, I will say that. And here's the thing. Today, we have, I think, 250 people, 235, 250 people here. It's a big, crowded house, okay? This is the second biggest space in Alpharetta. So when it comes to the technology companies that we have here, in Alpharetta, if we're going to have a place for industry to come together, to connect, we're going to need a bigger space than this. And so right now we're working with North American Properties and Stormont Hospitality Group to see if there's an agreement that we can come to that would allow us to have an opportunity to bring the technology companies and continue to be an economic leader in Metro Atlanta and certainly in North Fulton. So that's going to be an opportunity that we'll be working on the next 45 to 60 days. So there's a lot going on in Alpharetta, a lot of reasons to love Alpharetta, a lot of reasons to find it irresistible. And so now I happen to be a friend with this particular state rep, so I may actually do this, but if I had the opportunity, what I wish I could do is take him with me and say, look, you know what would really make you change your mind as to they're all the same and it doesn't matter, is I wish I could take him to Lake Windward on a summer afternoon, sit on one of the benches over there. I wish I could take him to Canton Street and walk from Milton Avenue over to Main Street. I wish I could go to Crust. I don't know if you've been over to Crust yet. Darren over there does a fantastic job. Get a pizza, grab a blanket, grab your wife or husband, go to that park between the library and City Hall, stretch out a blanket. It is going to be an amazing experience for you. There's a great spot behind City Hall, maybe you haven't discovered yet, by that stream. It's got a little rock and it's right at the right height to sit on. I've already seen several residents sitting there reading. You can actually, if you go to Avalon, Mr. Toro's here, these are my 3 picks for Avalon. You got to go to Antico, and I know it's the second time I said pizza. Antico is the best pizza anywhere. It just is. All right. Then you got, of course, Ford Fry with El Felix. Ford Fry is well known for all kinds of dishes. However, what I like is the chips and salsa. Seriously, he gets it right. It's thin, it's warm, it's salty, and the salsa is amazing. And I know that's probably not what he's known for, and he would probably cringe if that's what I brought up. Also, the best cappuccino in Metro Atlanta is at Goldberg's. Did you know that? Now you do. So I wish I could take him, and I wish I could show him that. I wish I could take him to Muggs on Milton. I love coffee anyway, so I'll go get the coffee there as well. And there is a park. Do y'all know of this park? It's at the corner of Canton and Old Canton Street. It's just a little tiny park. It's got a couple of benches there. It's got an arbor and a little fountain there. It is a perfect spot for 7:30 in the morning. It is an amazing spot. So I wish I could show him that. And I'll tell you one thing, on a Sunday, And I know I've got several pastors here, so I'm not going to try I got something for each of you. But you will never feel more welcome than at St. James United Methodist Church. So you guys are amazing. I wish I could take him and show him your congregation. And then I would take him to the Baptist church with your impact team. This is what the Baptist, now I'm saying love Alpharetta. I kind of stole that a little bit, although it's not necessarily copyrighted or anything. But the Baptist church has been loving on Alpharetta, and they got this impact team. And there's a lot of things that they do with this. But let me point out this one. They did, not too long ago, an event for special needs kids. And so they actually were able to look after special needs kids, got a lot of volunteers to do that so that the parents could get out and either go to the grocery store, just have a few moments alone. It's a whole different world. If some of you may have special needs kids, that's amazing what you're doing. You were certainly loving on Alpharetta when you did that. But so these are the things that I wish I could show him. There's a dog park. Did you know we have a dog park? All right. Well, we had a dog for 15 years, right? We never took her to the dog park. Now we got a new dog. We took her to the dog park. My gosh, it's her favorite thing ever. She likes it. She prefers it over food. So I feel bad about our last dog. But those are the kind of things. I know. Sorry, you missed out. This dog's going to be treated right. But those are the kind of things. I mean, this is a unique city. It is a gift. It is a special, special place. And those are the kind of things that I wish I could show him. That, of course, the danger is if he did see these things, if he did experience these things, he may love Alpharetta. And what that means is he would have to resign and move to Alpharetta, but that's the kind of thing you do for love. So I think he should do it. But that's what we're trying to create. So this year, as I started to think about where are we as a city, and really where are we as a city this year is phase 2. Whatever that means to you, it's phase 2. If it's Avalon, it's phase 2. We love phase 1, fantastic. Impress us again with phase 2. If it's downtown, we got the public side, the private side's up, it's phase 2. If you're talking about the technology side with what Mark Hubbard's doing, it's phase 2. We got those first things off the ground. It's all about phase 2. But what made an impression on me, and I'll admit that it really drove it home in that one meeting with the state representative and the Department of Transportation, but what really drove it home is if I could wish anything for you, if I could wish anything for the citizens of Alpharetta, is that we would love Alpharetta. Because when a city is loved, what happens is, yes, kids do come back and they want to raise their families. What happens is people do dream about what could be and should be for their city. What happens is the things that need to be repaired are repaired. What happens is the values, the trust, all those things are here. And the reason that's so important for Alpharetta is because you didn't grow up here. I didn't grow up here. And so if we're going to have that history that goes from generation to generation, we're going to have to start that now. And the way we do that is that we love the city that we're in, that we love Alpharetta. Now, there are a few opportunities that we're going to give you to love Alpharetta. I mentioned some of the things, and those may be things that are high on your list as well. There is, because I love Valentine's Day so much, there's a Valentine's Day card on your table. I'm making up for past sins. And what I would love for you to do as you leave is to write what you love about Alpharetta. You can tweet it if you're into tweeting. If not, leave it on there. We'll get it tweeted out. But there's your opportunity. There's an opportunity to tell us what you love about the city of Alpharetta. Also, as you leave today, there will be a decal that has our new logo, our much contested new logo. I don't know how long it took us guys to get that logo. But it's a way to wear the love of Alpharetta on your sleeve, or in this case, your rear window. But we would love for you, because can you imagine what the city would be like if just even a small percentage of those who live in Alpharetta, of those who work in Alpharetta, truly lived as if they love this city. And I think you guys do, and I think there's a lot of people who do, because there's a lot to love. And so what I want to see you guys and us do is go out and love Alpharetta. Thank you so much.